does what it says it's going to do. It's been a whole long time since I've done any sort of a live stream. So welcome. As people hopefully come to the channel and people hopefully start watching, they will hopefully leave some comments. But I wanted to pop on today instead of doing a regular video. And I wanted to address some things about the market because things have changed. Things are substantially different. And I don't think you should try to sell your home this summer. I really don't. I think it's gonna be a negative time for a lot of people, but I'm obviously saying that tongue in cheek with try. And here is what I mean by you don't want to try and sell your home this summer. There is a whole lot of folks out there that are doing the regular thing, which people do, and they say, well, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to put my home on the market, and if I get the amount that I want to get for my home, then I'll move. And I don't think you should try and do that right now. That is not the type of market we are in. We are definitely in a different type of market than we have seen over the past little while, and all of those sellers are spoiled. Simple as that. Those sellers are just simply not going to get the prices that they would expect. So let me tell you a little bit about the market so you can understand what is going on out there in the marketplace. Let me see if I can show you my screen. Here is the back-end system. The back-end system that we use is called Paragon. Realtors use the MLS this way. This is what we see when we do a report. And what I do is I like to come in here and look at this number every single day. It's the number of active listings currently on the market. By the way, if you have questions, pop them in the chat. I see that we got a few viewers. Pop them in the chat, and I'd love to hear from you. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. But here's what's going on in the market. So 7,333 listings on the market. That, to me, is the top end of a healthy market. Anything past this is going to start getting unhealthy, and by unhealthy, I mean unhealthy for sellers. So you're going to start to see some crazy stuff going on in the marketplace. You're going to start to see some crazy nut stuff. You're going to see crazy lows, crazy highs. It's all going to happen at the same time. But realistically, here's what the market's going to look like for a while. It's going to be tougher to sell your home. Simple. There's just more to pick from, and there's less sales. It's simple as that. So this is why I say you don't want to try to sell your home, because you have to be committed to selling your home right now, or you should not have it on the market. If you're not committed to the price of which you're asking, and your asking price is decent and in line with recent sales, you are not going to overshoot the last sale right now. It's not going to happen. There may be some areas where that's not true. Townhomes in areas like Langley and Cloverdale, possibly. But realistically, there is no new higher prices coming at this point in time. Prices have stabilized. Prices in some areas are showing like they will do probably fairly steep declines, and fairly steep is not what you think. It's not 30% or anything like that. We've already seen that. But let me pop in here and show you the other thing that I look at quite regularly. So as I told you, we're currently sitting at, if I show you this screen, 7,300 active listings on the market today in the board area. 6,500 is healthy. So we're on the top end of healthy now. And then I'm going to pop into the active listings. So last month, May 31st, the number was 6,000, almost 6,100. But now it's 7,300. So we've seen another 1,200 listings come to the marketplace. The last time we saw numbers that high was 2014. 2019 came close. 2019 saw as much as 6,839 listings in June. And we're not at that level as of last month, but we are now. But 2014 was the last time that we saw sustained inventory at that level. And it was that way all the way from right before the financial crisis. And it basically ebbed and flowed at that. Like at that time, the lowest amount of listings we had on in like a December was like 4,500. Well, during the pandemic, you were lucky to get that many active listings on the market at any one time. And at one point it was down to 1,400. So we've experienced this crazy low. Now we're getting back to normal. Now, here's what I love about this timeline from the 08. I mean, I got licensed right, where is it? Right there, right in the pits. What I really want to point out here, which is nice for buyers, is obviously there was a price decline at that point in time. So buyers could be happy about that. But let's pop into price over that time. So you had this 10% price drop over about a year, and then things took off. But look how flat this line is for so long. Like the overall pricing from 2010 to through 2015 went up about 10%. It's great. It's fantastic. I love it. This was abnormal. What I don't see happening again is this kind of price drop off because you didn't see this spike. We're seeing this leveling out, and I assume this leveling out is going to look a whole lot more like this leveling out. But we are starting to see those crazy high numbers. Let me pop in here. Not crazy high. They're high. But we get something called message of the day every single day, and we get to see how many sales there are for 12 working days compared to the last year. And I mean, look at that number. We're down like 400 sales compared to this time last year. Let's go back to the main cam here. So what does this tell me? This tells me that you have to be committed to selling your home in this market because buyers have choice. But buyers don't have choice in all areas. The areas I want you to be careful of right now, if you're a seller, are investment style condos, meaning non-livable style condos. You know, I just did a video on the channel recently about the $299 bachelor suite. Stuff's going to get beat up. The junior one beds going to get beat up. 2-bed townhouses doing fantastic. 3-bed townhouses doing fantastic right now. Actually, the detached market has actually come back a bit. The crazy part I see about the detached market is there's now so much available. I'm starting to look at areas like South Surrey, White Rock, and say, oh, man, there's actually some good deals out there. There's actually looking like some good deals. But that's because there's so much now available. And down in those areas, I mean, your average house is like $2.5 million. So, of course, there's a lot available. Look at that. We got some folks on. Give us a like, subscribe, ask questions in the chat because I just wanted to get this out, my thoughts out about the market right now, not in a video chat, but in a live chat. Yeah, it's not going to get better. It's not going to get better for a bit. We're at the beginning of the downturn of the economy, and that's been signaled by the Bank of Canada by having the interest rates get cut. And for the next little bit, I saw a heart go by. Thank you so much for the one person that gave me a click of the like button. It's going to continue to go this way for a while. Now, here's what's not going to happen. It is not at this point lowball season. It's not crazy lowball season. You can think, oh, yeah, I'm going to go run out and run these stupid lowball numbers. Sure. Great. Try it. You're not going to get very far. What happens, what people don't realize that happens in the marketplace is more sellers can hold out than you think. There's not a lot of people getting crushed right now, contrary to popular opinion. There is a bunch of people getting crushed more than they were before, and prices aren't going up, so it won't save them. But what you're not going to see is people accepting offers 20% below ask. You can write that number all you want. It is not going to happen. It might be that that property is worth 20% below ask, but the seller, if they wanted to sell at 20% below ask, would be much closer to that price. And if they were 20% below where they're at, they're probably going into multiple offers, which we're still seeing a ton of. We're still seeing a ton of because here's the biggest thing we're noticing right there. Oh, so a couple of comments. I'll get to those in a bit. The biggest thing we're noticing right now is the homes that don't show well, the homes that don't have a wow factor, that don't show like a 9 or a 10 out of 10, the homes that aren't priced like a 9 or a 10 out of 10, and they're priced poorly, and they're priced too high and they don't show well, they just simply won't sell. It's as simple as that. And that won't save people from themselves. The sellers out there that got used to just being able to, and realtors, I guess, stick a sign in the front yard, and you don't even have to sweep up before your showings. You don't have to clean the sink. You don't have to do anything because the people were so excited just to get a property and they'll clean it up themselves. They're not offering now. And they're definitely not going to buy that $1 million, $2 million, $3 million property and then have to go clean it up themselves afterwards. So, I mean, that is what you're going to see out there. You're going to see buyers taking shots, which is fine. You can't blame them. They've been beat up for so long. They're going to try and take shots. But there's going to be a ton of buyers that wait too long because they're trying to get too good of a deal and they're just not doing what makes sense. That what happens, I guess, in a down market or a downwards trending market is the buyer doesn't want today's prices. The buyer wants 6 months from now prices because they're projecting them going down. And that's not going to happen. If the prices do go down that much over 6 months, then you need to buy in 6 months. And then you're going to want 6 months down the road prices from there if it continues to decline. And usually what happens is buyers do that for so long that they wait for the market to turn back around and things don't go their way. So the other side of things, yeah, sellers, I'm telling you, you got to get serious. You got to really get your properties ready for sale. You have to impress the buyers. Right now, you're in most areas begging for someone to come view your home and someone to write an offer on your home. Obviously, again, not the good listings, not the clean listings. Those ones are getting offers. For instance, I'll let you know right now, if you're trying to buy a townhouse in Fleetwood right now, multiple offers on everything. It's a different market. But if you're trying to get rid of a not even one bed, a junior one bed in Wally right now, good luck to you. Just doesn't make sense. You need an end user to buy that sort of thing. So good time to sell my townhome. So sorry, let me read this out loud. I'm bad at this. My wife actually gets mad at me for this. Would now be a good time to sell my townhome in Pitt Meadows for pre-build detached home in Maple Ridge. Let me know what you think about that comment before. I'm going to take another sip of my coffee. They want to sell a townhome in order to buy a pre-built detached home in Maple Ridge. Is it a good time to sell your townhome? Depends. Depends where you're going to price it. What does a good time mean? But no, don't just try unless you want to get serious about it. So is it a good time? Generally speaking, yes, townhomes are doing well still. So is it a good time relative to the rest of the market? Yes. Is it a good time relative to prices of March 2022? Absolutely not. Pre-build detached home in Maple Ridge. Why you would purchase any brand new detached home right now is beyond me. You're going to pay a crazy amount of money. Let me give you an example. In my area where I live, detached homes sell for $1.5 to $1.9 million, maybe $1.85 million. That's the range. The brand new builds, of which there's 7 or 8 right now within the area, are listed between 2.4 and 2.8 million. Why you would spend that extra? Sure, it's new. Sure, it's nice. It's up to date. It's a little bit bigger, but it's $1 million more. It's $1 million more for those properties, even $800,000 more. It's $4,200 per month extra on top of what you could buy a detached home for in those areas. So don't buy new. My thought is most people should not be buying new. They do, however. They go into a sales center. They get suckered into it. I was dealing with people just the other day that had to buy brand new. Sure. I will never understand buying brand new. If you bought a brand new high rise right now, you can go across the street and buy something 5 years old for 30% less. So I don't know why you would do it. Detached is not the same. Inventory sales ratio. Well, I just kind of showed it there, but let me pop back in to my screen. So this was prices. Actives, if you missed it, if you're just joining late, basically actives are at 7,300, and we haven't seen that amount of inventory in a decade. So we are going to go back to a much more balanced, better for the buyer market. Doesn't mean prices are coming down, means things are getting better. But what are sales doing? Well, here, let's look at the sales. Obviously, you had crazy time of sales in the peak of 21. 22 was similar. Sales are low. Sales are not going to crest. Let's look at years that have had lower amounts of sales. 2019, my worst ever year in real estate. 2014 was actually about the same. 2013, 2012. Personally, I had good years those years, but they were a lot slower. Another interesting fact, at that time, let's say 2012, 2013, in my marketplace, there was 2,700 realtors. Now there's 5,200 realtors. So you have the same amount of sales, double the amount of actual agents, meaning half the amount of sales per agent. And there's a whole bunch of agents that are going to be absolutely hurting out there. And there's a whole bunch of agents that are going to be taking listings and spending a ton on listings, and those listings are not going to sell. And they don't have the courage or the, sales skill to educate their clients on where market value is. And they're going to get beat up. Rent the townhome and buy a used house at a great price. No, most people can't rent a townhome out and buy a house, so that's probably not going to happen. Sales to active ratio. Sales to active ratio is declining, but it's still actually not that bad as of last month. This month, it's going to go the other way fairly hard, I think. So basically, when you end up between 25 and 20 and 25%, you end up in a balanced marketplace. That's where we were. When we start dipping below 20% consumption, you're going to head into a buyer's marketplace. So we're not there right now. We are definitely headed there. I think we will head there. But look where we were. Like 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. I mean, January 2015 is when the market really took off for the first time. And we were in buyer's market conditions heavily back then. Again, what happened? Did prices crater? No. We saw flattening. And I think that's probably what we're going to see again over the next little bit. I do think we're going to see tougher economic conditions over the next little bit. So that could have downward pressure for sure. Then we have days on market. Let's see what that's doing. Days on market are starting to creep up. I mean, here's how bad the market is. We're still at like average 13 days on market for properties that sell. Think about how crazy that is. The market's so terrible. It took me 2 weeks to sell my home. Oh my goodness. It was so bad. But what is that number really? That was actually the median. Let's look at the average. 23, a little higher. What is days on market really? It's the properties that actually sell. So the good properties are selling still within 13 to 23 days. So let's say it's 13 to 23 days. If you're not sold in 23 days, you are overpriced. Simple. You need a price reduction. If you don't have a price reduction, when you do that price reduction, though, that clock resets. So now say it's 21 days you need to do a price reduction, which is what I recommend. If you reduced last week, good. Let's reset that clock. But it's nothing. Look, January 2013, the average time on the market was more than 2 months. It's a regular market. That's why I'm saying don't try. Don't just give it a go. You got to be serious and committed to doing it right now. The best time, for instance, again, let's go back to when I got licensed right here. The best time for the first almost decade of my career was a month and a half on the marketplace. That's what a real estate market is. But we've been spoiled. We've been absolutely spoiled. Let's take a look at average price just so you can see. This is why I don't like average price, because it's so jagged. If you listen to this, average price is actually going up, which it's absolutely not right now. That being said, the detached market is moving better than the condo market, so I could see average price actually skewing, but I prefer HPI, which is flattening out. It's much more realistic. Thanks for the info. Appreciate it. Great. Glad I could help. That was about the sales ratios. Are you still seeing a trend of people just leaving their property on the market because they are not in a hurry to actually sell? 100%. That is what people are doing. And that's what average folks usually do. I'm not leaving until I get this price. Let me give you an example. I want $1 million for my property. I'm not leaving until I get $1 million. That's what, okay. I'm your realtor. I come in, I say, great, your place is worth $925. Well, I'm not leaving till I get $1 million. They can just write me an offer if it's $925. They never write the offer. It's too big. It's too insulting. The buyer doesn't want to do it. The buyer's going to go right on the $899 properties that go into multiple offers rather than right on yours. It's fine. So I'm going to wait. Well, here's what's going to happen. You're going to wait because you're not that hurting. You can still afford it. A lot of these people are mortgage free. A lot of the boomers are mortgage free. So they're sitting on this $1 million property. No big deal. I can sit on it. Cool. I'm going to wait for the market to come back. So personally, I think if you're waiting for, what is that, 7% increase, 10% increase, somewhere in there, if you're waiting for that to come back, you're going to be waiting for, I think, multiple years. I don't think we're going to see increase of 5, 6, 10% for multiple years. Whether that's 3 years or 7 years, I don't know, but it will be multiple years. Then when you get your $1 million, the property that you wanted to move to just also went up 7%. So you're doing the exact same thing. So unless you're cashing out of the market and you're going to put off your retirement by a certain amount of time, and that $70,000 difference is going to make a big difference, you should end up going now. So what do sellers do? They put their price on. This is what I want. I'm not moving unless I get it. And then the downside is often they hire agents that don't have the skill to educate them on where real value is. And they just list with the guy that told them the highest number, and that property sits on the marketplace. So that is the reality of being a real estate agent. You will educate your clients, and when they're not motivated, or if you do a bad job of explaining, they sit on the market. So yeah, we're going to see a ton of people sitting on the market. We're going to see a ton of what we call expiries. And it's silly. It's absolutely silly. That's why this video is titled, Do Not Try to Sell Your Home. Either sell your home or take it off the market. Don't try and sell your home at a price that is 10% higher than what your agent is telling you. It will not happen. It's not going to happen. Let's keep back to some more here. What are your thoughts on interest rates in the coming 3 years and overall economic conditions? I don't know. I'm a high school educated real estate idiot. We're asking the wrong person. But if I had to guess, rates will be coming down actually, I think now faster than we thought before, because we're starting to see effects that are quite negative. And I think business is going to get crushed by the new capital gains rules, and people are going to flood money out of the country, which will bring down interest rates faster than we thought. And it will not give us the relief that we're looking for, because then business will die off and it won't be as good as we had hoped. That being said, every new to the country permanent resident that I'm working with is making ungodly amounts of money, and they're bringing ungodly amounts of money. So areas like Vancouver and Toronto are going to stay crazy unaffordable for the future. I think we're going to see a downturn over the next little bit. And I think 2025 and 26, 27, interest rates are going to be back down to that 3-ish% overnight rate, maybe even 2.5%. And I think we're off to the races because the economy downturn will not last forever. Specifically, if the Conservatives get in and they do tax reform, which they're teasing right now. Do you think more buyers will come to the market when Bank of Canada cuts rates again, perhaps bringing sentiment back? I do not. Because, well, here's the thing. If you go into any place of business and you start talking about real estate, everybody still talks about how good pre-sales are, and pre-sales are a terrible investment. So there is a bunch of people that have no idea what's going on, and that might move sentiment. But realistically, I can't see a spot where, well, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to be a good thing to get interest rates down that will affect actual purchases because interest rates are already there. For example, if I get a variable fixed rate, or sorry, a variable 5-year right now, fixed variable, I guess you would call it, probably going to end up around 6.25, maybe, give or take. But my 5-year fixed rate money is a full percent lower than that. So I need the bond yields to not come down, and I need the interest rates to come down 4 more times before variable even becomes attractive to take, which I don't think is going to happen. So if everybody keeps their jobs, then yes, rates coming down will signify things going in the right direction. But the question is, will people keep their jobs? I don't know. Definitely, we're starting to see more folks think about their future. And the biggest trend I think we see is people selling out and reducing mortgage size. That we're seeing a ton of. Seeing an absolute ton of people going, you know what? In a few years, do I really want this big of a mortgage? Do I want to deal with this renewal, or is it time to downsize? Lots of folks are totally okay with moving from the single family detached home down to the townhouse or whatever, even if they were not considering that before. Tom Story has joined us. Welcome, Tom, from the future. He's in Toronto. Comment. Let me know where you're watching from. So that's interest rates. More buyers come to the market. I don't think so. I think short term, should they buy? Probably. Should they lock in when they have the ability? Here's what people missed. Here's the stupid part that people miss. For 4 years, you had an impossibility of getting into the market. People were like, I can't get in. I can't get in. I can't get in. I'll do anything to get in. I'll give you my child. I'll whatever. I'll forge income documents. I'll do whatever it takes to get into the market. Market turns a little bit. Now they can go, oh, now I can get in. They go, I don't want to. Sounds like my dating life from younger. Like, you got the possibility, now do it. Nah, I'm going to hold off. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing buyers that are just walking away from deals now, when before they couldn't wait to get into that type of property. Now they can. They're like, yeah, I'll wait for the next one. It's actually what happened in 2008. So I have a very good friend of mine does real estate in the States. And he said the problem there was in 2008, every time you hooked a buyer into a property and they're like, yeah, this one looks great, next week one would come up that looked even better. So they would hop out of properties all the time. You're going to start seeing lots more deals collapse. And I think you're going to see a lot more just because buyers are either scared or they can't arrange their financing. There's also a good chance that we've got a lot of agents that don't have a ton of skill. And they don't know how to walk their buyers through the process to make them feel comfortable and educate them all the way through the process. Buyer's not able to qualify even if the rates drop. Yeah, again, it has nothing to do with that. Stress test, hey, there is argument that they may muck with the stress test if we go through a long, prolonged downturn, or if, why do you have the stress test when you know rates will likely be coming down? Doesn't really make sense. But they do. Can you please share info about inventory and sales? Welcome. You must be late. We've done that, but we can go over it again. Do you see any changes due to the Bank of Canada? We just discussed that. What's the future of the detached home in the Fraser Valley? So BC, actually, sorry, not BC. Surrey just announced their plan for dealing with the province's 3, 4, and 6-plex rules. It's in depth. I read it, and I can't tell you what you can and can't build. I have not yet seen those properties come into play, though. They are talking about, they've seemed to have addressed almost everything. They seem to address basement suites. They seem to have addressed 4-plexes. It's not like you can just build 4 houses on a lot, though. They're naming it, I'd have to look it up, but they name it something like small unit development or something like that. And I can't remember exactly what they named it, but it's basically saying, hey, we're going to fit smaller units on these properties. So basically saying, hey, everybody, your expectations of what you live in better start dropping, because we're going to start these like 1,200 square foot 3-bed units, and we're going to put 4 of them on a property. They're not going to be these bigger, nicer, more beautiful houses. They're going to be smaller units for sure. Tom Story, I hope you're not watching anymore. If anybody doesn't know Tom, go to his channel and unsubscribe. Do you have a pulse check on how the pre-sale market is? Curious how demand is. Hopefully it's zero. Not hopefully for the future, but hopefully if you're my buyer, I've talked you out of pre-sale most of the time. There's an occasional client where I'm like, okay, pre-sale makes sense for you. You want to be in this development. You want to be there. Townhouse developments or low-rise developments, I'm more in favor of. Condo high-rises, I wouldn't ever touch with a 4,000-foot pole. High-rises are becoming an issue even after completion now. So I would watch that. I guess what's the nice way to say it? Pre-sales are not a good investment. They are a lucky investment at certain times in the market. So unless you plan on buying that property, you see a floor plan that you want to own for 20 years, don't buy it. And that goes even when the market is good. I'll give you an example. I had a family member of mine come to me with, I think it was the Hub. It was 2017. The Hub pre-sale was going on. The lineup for Hub 1 and 2 was around the block. I said, don't go there. He actually ended up going there, trying to get in line, couldn't get in line. It was such a disaster. The place he was looking at was $719,000 for the one he wanted to buy. At that time, the average condo was like $450,000. And I was like, you're insane. Maybe it was even less than that. I said, you're insane. Don't buy it. You know, you can buy that same unit for $425,000 right now or something like that. Luckily, he couldn't get in the line, couldn't buy it, didn't buy it. I sold condo. I actually love the floor plan, but I have sold clients into that exact same floor plan for like $640,000 right now, $80,000 less. And the building's been complete for 1.5 years, 2 years. So they are a poor investment, in my estimation. You might hit the lottery. You might also play roulette like I do, which is, for some reason, always the wrong number. Color. Well, no matter what, I usually lose. And then the real key, just like roulette, is even if you hit it big, if you stay in it long enough and do it again, you're going to lose eventually. It's how the pre-sale market currently works. I have $250K saved up with $110K income. Congratulations. Your recommendation, how I should get into the market. First, you should book a call with me right now using the link in the description below. And if you're looking in Surrey or the Fraser Valley, we can help you. Because I can't give advice directly. But what I can say is if I had $250 down, $100K is going to get me $450 mortgage, $700,000. If I was young and single, I prefer condo life. I would get into a 2017 to maybe 2012 to 2020 built condo that would have enough space so I could get a significant other and move them in if needed. Always buy a little bit bigger if you need to. If you could afford a townhouse, great. I might go to an older townhouse because I like having a garage. But in my market, I would live in it and not do the, I'm going to rent somewhere else and invest this. Capital gain is going to be a real problem for people moving forward. So live in your unit. It's the most tax effective way to actually make your dollars work for you. And as somebody that's super angry about tax right now, personally, cutting those checks all the time to the government. Yeah, tax. Gotta love it. Live in your units, guys. Let me give you actually a quick synopsis. Get into a condo as soon as you can. I bought my first condo. Here comes the boomer talk. I know. I got into my first condo at 25 years old. I moved out of it at 29, bought a place with my fiance at the time, my now wife. Lived in that for 4 years, did the upsize, eventually put a rental suite in the basement. In that meantime, I did have a co-owned condo with somebody else, but partnerships I don't like. So it went condo, townhouse, house. That took 8 or 9 years. Rental eventually in the basement. Then another condo is what I ended up doing. So if you're thinking about, like, if I've got a property now and you're thinking about picking up a second property, what I would definitely not do is buy a second property. I would do whatever I could to get into the home, put a rental in the basement apartment, and only have one set of property taxes. Basically, when I run the numbers on my basement suite, my condo, the income tax I pay on them is actually the same. And the condo is actually, I want to say, like 40% higher rent. So it makes a ton more sense to actually reduce your expenses, get all that into your house. What else we got? Let's see if I can pick through small scale multifamily housing units. Good luck. I don't know how you're going to pick those up in my area. Maybe where you are. Thoughts on transit-oriented areas. This is a good one. I love this. Clients that I have are running away from transit-oriented areas. They don't want anything to do with it. I mixed my protein shake before I started this half an hour ago, and let's see if it's any good. No one I know that wants to live in their home wants to be anywhere near transit. Every investor I know thinks it's a good idea to get a foreign student or a new to Canada person to live in their near transit investment. Personally, if the SkyTrain was coming by my house within 3 kilometers, I would move. It's going to bring a lot of problems. It's going to bring a lot of crime. And if you need the train, great. Otherwise, personally, I wouldn't do it. It's my thought. I'm car dependent, though. I'm born and raised in the suburbs, so a lot of people are not that way. I will tell you, around Delta, around Surrey, around Langley, the amount of folks taking transit now is unreal. Absolutely unreal. I wish we had a proper transit system. I have a feeling we will see more people choose to stay in their homes longer, build additions. I don't think that will happen at all, to accommodate their family. I don't think you're going to see people building additions at all because it's so expensive and so hard to do, and permits are too much and building costs are too much. What people will do is downsize, or they may upsize with other family members. We are seeing a lot more of that. We are seeing a lot more parents in the basement, downsizing. They were going to downsize, but they're moving into the basement with the kids or whatever. For sure, that happens quite a bit. Do you think developers will lower prices on pre-built? No. I don't think they will. They have to make money. Maybe if they're going out of business and this is their only chance, but it costs so much to make that unit, and they're going to stick to their guns. People think that developers are going to lower and they're going to get a good deal. If you get a developer that is going to lower their price by that much, they're a crappy developer. You probably shouldn't buy that unit. People don't realize, some of the developers, how deep their pockets are and how long they plan on carrying these properties for. So I wouldn't worry about that. Plus, everything that's being built right now was bought 3 years ago. So the people that are going to be in trouble are the people that have to complete on those units, not the developers. Developer will take your deposit and resell that thing to somebody else. There's always another turnip truck coming around the corner for a pre-sale center for some reason. How about this question? In South Surrey, especially close to Semiahmoo Secondary School, prices are always high and less inventory. Yeah, well, take a look right now. Inventory in South Surrey Ocean Park is through the roof. Yes, prices are high. Inventory is through the roof. Generally, those higher priced properties have little to no mortgages, so they will stay high, and people will not sell out of those unless they're absolutely hurting, and very few of them are hurting. The hurting areas will be the heavily financed investors. So this is the folks that will hurt. What will hurt is folks that lived in maybe Burnaby or Surrey, and they bought at the height of the pandemic and rented out Abbotsford detached homes, Chilliwack detached homes. Those are the folks that are going to hurt. That being said, maybe I've chatted long enough. If you got any final questions, type them in. A bunch of people on here right now, not nearly enough clicks of the like button happening. Hopefully a few more subscribers. But basically, I want to recap. Listing inventory is the highest we have now seen it in 10 years. This means if you are a seller, you have to get serious about selling. It's not, no, the sky is not falling. Prices are not coming down that high or that low. Sure, you're going to sell for less than the peak of the market, but if you've owned for 10 years, you're still going to sell for more than you ever thought. So Swallow your pride, get your property sold, move on to the next place, and stop waiting, because waiting for 6 months is not going to make a difference. Waiting for 3 years might not make a difference. And if you do sell for more, the place you're going to move to is probably also selling for more. Unless for some reason you're cashing out of the market altogether. Maybe. But realistically, I just don't see it happening. Get serious about selling if you want to sell. If you're a buyer, I'm sure a bunch of you are going to start waiting for better deals. Better deals will happen. They will never be low enough for you to keep on waiting and waiting and waiting forever. So do what's wise. Buy when a deal makes sense for you, and stop thinking you're going to get like 10 or 15 or 20% under the asking price, because it's not going to happen. Hire an agent that will walk you through what real market value is, and then you should act on something. Because before you know it, just like 2019, let me give you an example before I close out. 2019, the market was coming to an end. Everybody thought it was terrible, 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 terrible. 2020 clicked over. Interest rates were going up at that time, and the market took off. Before March 12th or March 13th, whatever it was, 2020, before that, the market was taking off. Then we had lower interest rates, and then the market took off again, or even crazier. So they actually, if it wasn't for that whole stay-at-home thing, interest rates would have been higher, and we wouldn't have had, hopefully, the inflation. Richmond, you're talking about the Richmond market. I got a listing in Richmond right now. It's a lot better market than, for instance, Wally or some areas around where I am. Generally speaking, though, Eric on our team handles Richmond. I don't as much. I actually have 2 listings in Richmond right now. But my team members handle those because they are much more experts in those areas. It's up to you. If you like Richmond, great. I've never found it to be useful for myself. Never lived there. Born and raised in Surrey. What are you going to do? Okay, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to subscribe. Click the like button. Add in extra questions if you're watching on the restream. And if everything goes well, I'll get to those as well. Thank you so much. Get serious about selling your home if you're selling. Tell your friends. Tell at least one person today about this, that if you're not serious about selling, take your home off the market. Let's get real, guys. Get out of here. Anyway, have a great day. Book a call if you need down below.